So a few days ago, due to a mixture of boredom and spontaneity, I decided to put out a video focusing on the good, the bad and the downright ridiculous in Need for Speed 2015, alongside some suggestions for improvements for Need for Speed 2017. Now, thanks to a member of the Need for Speed Facebook community, shortly after posting the video, it was brought to my attention that news was beginning to emerge about the patents taken out by Electronic Arts called Need for Speed Arena. Now, I fully appreciate there are plenty of other YouTubers who have reported on this already, but after taking a step back, taking some time to breathe and doing a bit of research, what I'm going to do is discuss the three theories that seem to be the general consensus as to what this could eventually be, as well as my own thoughts. So what I'm going to do is count them down from 3 to 1 in order of probability, with 3 being the most outlandish and 1 being the most likely. So, without further ado, coming in at number 3, arguably the most discussed theory of all, a mobile game. So we know the patent covers downloadable content. Now, looking at the App Store and the Play Store, we have a number of Need for Speed titles available to play, of which the most recent is No Limits, which got released around the same time as Need for Speed 2015. We also have Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, which came out in 2010. We also have Most Wanted, which came out around 2012. And as I mentioned earlier, No Limits 2015. So we got 3 in total. Now, for those who don't know, even though No Limits was released under the EA banner, it was actually made by Fire Monkeys. Does that name ring a bell? Well, it should. Of course it should, because they are also the development team behind arguably the best racing sim on the mobile platform, Real Racing 3. Now, there is a relevancy to this point, which will become clear by the end of this discussion. But firstly, let's take a deeper look at the mobile platform. We've already seen the cops and robbers theme in Hot Pursuit. We've had the whole premise of being the baddest on the street with Most Wanted, and No Limits seems to bring back the essence of the Underground series with deep customization and a multitude of event types, earning reputation, clashing with crews and gaining respect. And as mentioned above, albeit under a totally different brand, EA have got simulation-based racing on the mobile platform covered with the Real Racing franchise courtesy of Fire Monkey. So now we have covered what we have already seen, let's discuss what I believe is the improbable. The name in the title, Arena, leaves a lot to be thought about. An arena is normally a large area or confined space, but what possibilities would this open up? Think maybe a Rocket League clone? A whole game based around some type of car and ball type mayhem? Think Destruction Derby? Maybe Burnout games that are specifically designed for causing carnage, chaos and destruction? You see, the problem here is that fundamentally Need for Speed is a racing game, and the 2 examples I gave above either have racing as just a secondary afterthought, or as is the case with Rocket League, totally exempt from any type of racing at all. Look, there has to be some sort of legitimacy towards going so far left of what the core roots of Need for Speed is all about. I just cannot see, nor can I visualize the sense in straying so far away from what is seen as a key selling point of the franchise. So now we've discussed the highly unlikely, where or what does that leave us with in relation to the theory of Need for Speed Arena being a mobile game? Well, quite simply, nothing. Let's talk about Real Racing 3. It was released in February 2013. We are now at the bottom end of 2016 and the game is still receiving rich content updates and support with no signs of slowing down. Add to this, there are no leaks of tangible, believable information on a Real Racing 4. This means in just a few months' time we will be looking at a game that has been supported for an incredible 4 years. If you look at Need for Speed No Limits, although it has been out for a shorter period of time, it's still hugely popular with lots of people playing, and again has tons of content being added regularly. It has a rating of over 4 stars, meaning that it's clearly liked, and it also arguably has better customization options than the full console Need for Speed 2015. Fire Monkeys have demonstrated that rather than just pushing out annual releases, they prefer to make a quality product, evolve it, tweak it, improve it and expand it until it gets as close to perfect as possible. Now if you add this to all the reasons and theories I mentioned above, the evidence is stacked firmly in favour of a non-mobile release, and for this reason I do not believe at the moment that Need for Speed Arena will be a mobile-based game. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on and discuss theory number 2, a Need for Speed World sequel. Now, World is arguably the most controversial title in the series franchise. It was exclusive to PC and was hugely popular around the PC gaming community. A truly fully fledged online open world racer with a big slice of PvP based action and almost endless possibilities in terms of tuning, upgrades and customization. It sounds like a racer's dream. Fans of the game no doubt love the fact the online phenomenon was actually free to play, allowing it to be accessible to anyone regardless of your budget. It fell into the MMORPG genre, a little bit like The Crew, as they allow the player to customize individual capabilities of the vehicle for races or police pursuits, with each skill mod having a different effect. However, controversy spread like wildfire because on July the 14th, 2015, EA and Black Box announced they were pulling the plug on the server, effectively shutting down Need for Speed World for good. This actually angered millions, and Facebook communities and Reddit forums went into meltdown as people vented their feelings through the use of angry emojis, some curse words in various different languages, all on the use of social media. And to be honest, this could be part of the reason as to why Need for Speed 2015 was given a rough time by some people, as in terms of content, to me, I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like it offered less than Need for Speed World. Now, it's because of how much love Need for Speed World got that some people have looked at the Need for Speed Arena name and are suggesting, speculating and praying that EA are going to do a massive U-turn and bring it back, albeit under a different title. Now, when you think of the word arena, well, playing online against multiple opponents around the world, when you think about it, the lobby is actually a virtual arena of sorts. So this is actually very plausible. I mean, it makes sense, right? Not only that, but check this out. Need for Speed Edge is a newly released title developed by EA Spearhead, formerly known as EA Korea. It's set to be published by Nexon in South Korea and by Tencent in China under the title Need for Speed Online. The game is being developed in Korea and will use the Frostbite 3 engine. Now, the title was first teased through a press conference released in Korean by Nexon on July the 1st, 2015. It features various multiplayer only routes that players will use to compete against one another, obviously seeing who will reach the finish line first. Players can also grab power-ups along the route, or route if you're American, to use against other players or improve their current car, similar to Pursuit Tech featured in Need for Speed Rivals and power-ups featured in Need for Speed World. It's an online exclusive, so it seems that if they have just released the game with strikingly close similarities to Need for Speed World in one part of the world, then surely they'll be pushing it out globally, right? Well, in my mind, possibly, but I don't believe this is the case, and these are the reasons why I say this. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Need for Speed World shut down in July 2015, with the new Need for Speed released later on in the same year. Now, businesses exist to make money, and from a business standpoint it wouldn't make sense to release Need for Speed 2015 and keep World running, as it would have eaten into the sales from the newer title. Also, development studios work with budgets, and while I'm not suggesting EA are in any way poor or strapped for cash, there is no doubt it would have cost more money to keep both titles running simultaneously. By building another version of Need for Speed World, obviously entitled Arena, as it is purely PC based and online only, surely it would harm the presence of the next multi-platform release. Now, I know what you're thinking, but you've just mentioned Need for Speed Edge, which has already been revealed to the public. Yes. But this at the moment is exclusively for the Asian market, specifically South Korea and China, and is in development by EA team from those parts of the world. There have been plenty of examples of games companies releasing things exclusively to certain markets and keeping exclusivity to that region. This practice is not new, it's not uncommon, and it won't be the first time that it happens. And at the moment, unfortunately, there is nothing to suggest they will change the strategy on Edge and push it out to America, Europe and Oceania. So, unlike the mobile theory, theory number 2 has a strong possibility for, but with a good solid argument to suggest it will not come to fruition. So you could say I'm on the fence about this one. So this brings us on to the final and in my mind most probable theory, esports. Now esports, for those who don't know, are real competitions with real competitors for real prizes. There is usually some sort of qualifying standard to gain entry, thus attracting the best console racers from around the globe. Forza have already adopted this mechanism in the Motorsport series, with the top prize being a real-life 2017 Ford Focus RS, and the recently announced Gran Turismo Sport have got their own esports stuff lined up, with competitions being in conjunction with the FIA World Racing governing body. Now, if we forget the title and look at the patent itself, it states, downloadable computer game software via a global computer network and wireless devices, video game software, entertainment services, namely providing an online computer game provision of information relating to electronic computer games provided via the internet. Here's what I think and predict will happen. I feel Need for Speed Arena is actually going to be a service rather than a standalone game, and it's going to facilitate their own version of esports, sort of like an esports portal for EA, and as such will act as a community-based hub where people who want to be a part of it will download weekly or monthly competitions in the form of content updates to their PC or console, giving them the access to racing other players in real time in real competitions. I also feel there will be a mobile based application to accompany this, where you'll be able to socialise with other racers, check where you are on leaderboards as well as your current rank, get updates on new components when they go live, as well as the ability to push any downloadable content or competitions to your console, so that if you're out of the house, it's ready for you to pick up and play when you get home. This is what I think and predict will happen due to the nature of what the patent consists of. Need for Speed Arena. Thus concluding our NFS Arena debate. Now guys, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section on what your theories and predictions are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or do you have a totally different idea as to what direction EA are going with this? If you're a fan of racing games, cars, or a fellow YouTuber who plays those types of games, then feel free to share your videos, creations, or just get involved with discussions and debates in the Google Plus community entitled The Born Racers. Search it and join it today. It's free. There's no excuse not to, you cheapskate. In the meantime, if it's your first time around here, I wish you a very born welcome. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. In the meantime, take care and drive dangerously. Peace.